We are now joined in studio by media personality and entertainment host Daniel Pillai.
Yes.
I finally got this right. I've never been saying Pillai, who has really become a voice for minorities on the world stage. Welcome back to the show. We haven't seen you for a while. Where have you been? What have you been doing?
I've been, living with pride. Let's say that.
Living with pride? Oh.
Absolutely.
Well, it's an event that shares a timeless message of celebrating diversity and community. And like so many people, you were bullied for being gay, but have since overcome the unjust standards that had been set by society. I was reading an article about how you were called a he, she in grade 2. Is that where it started for you, where there comes a point where you say, enough, like I'm going to do something about this?
Well, I don't even think I had that maturity to think like that in grade 2. I think that's the first time I really became aware of myself and my feminine characteristics that were inviting a lot of, hateful comments in my family and outside of my family, like in school. So I think at that point you're referring to in my life was really a moment where I started to realize there was something about me that people didn't agree with. Yeah.
Or that you were different.
Or that I was different,
and that for whatever reason, that was not a good thing.
Yeah.
Was it traumatic?
It was, because, my mom was the youngest of 14 kids, so I grew up in a very big family with a lot of cousins. And a lot of the bullying that happened in my family was from older male cousins who were the epitome of, what it was to be an alpha male. And then there I was with feminine characteristics. And I was always made to feel like I didn't fit in. And so it was very traumatic, because when you don't fit in, you're sitting on the outside, you're constantly asking yourself, what is it about me that's so different? And it's uncomfortable. And that discomfort is unset. Like when you walk into a room, even till this day, when I walk into a room, I have my backup, because I'm sussing out the energy of the room to see if it's somewhere where I can really just kind of let loose, or if it's going to be a place where I have to have my guard up. And that's happened ever since I was a child, from all these bullying experiences. I haven't unshaken that.
But have things not improved, Daniel? I mean, do we not have a spirit of inclusion? My children don't see sex, they don't see gender, they don't see color, they see good people. They see a warm heart, they see kindness, they recognize, do you know what I mean? Yeah. Has nothing changed?
I think things have changed. I think things have definitely improved. I think a lot of what I'm referring to is my own internal I could say repercussions of that bullying. But I think the world is a better place than it was when I was in grade 2. My sister, she's 5 years younger than me. She grew up with an innate understanding of the LGBTQ community. It was a part of the society she grew up in. It wasn't any different than who she was as a person.
Now, what about culturally?
Yeah.
Do you think there are differences in certain cultures where it's less inclusive, more inclusive?
I think that's the reason why there are so many differences in what we consider right or wrong when it comes to the LGBTQ community.
What about your family?
My family, when I speak about my family, culturally, my mother told me she never knew what it was to be gay, or what it was if a man was gay or a woman was gay. What is the LGBTQ community? She had no idea until she migrated to Canada. And that's because the world around her told her that the world worked in a very particular way. It's a man, woman, and that's how you live your life. So she was open to understanding about that community. But I couldn't expect her to unlearn that. She was 52 when I told her that I was gay. So culturally, it's very rigid. It still is till this day. Homosexuality is a crime. It's a criminal act in India. So people are being killed for being gay. They're being, put in prison for being gay. So culturally, it's there. Religiously, no. I think people use a lot of cultural standards to kind of justify how they feel about the LGBTQ community. But I think even till this day, I'm very uncomfortable around very conservative groups in my family. It could be the seniors, it could be the elders, it could be those who are very, culturally close-knit, those communities. I am uncomfortable because I know their discourse doesn't allow a space for me. I still may sit in the same room as them, but I don't always know what they're thinking and how they feel about me. And while I don't care, it's still discomforting to be in a place like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you obviously must have gone through a stage where you did suppress.
Oh, yes.
And how long did that go on? And when, and tell us about the journey where, at which point you said, now I'm ready to embrace who I am. And
So it's a little complicated for me because I came out when I was 25 years old. I'm 33 today, so it wasn't that long ago. And I suppressed my sexuality for a very long time because I didn't really know who I was. My parents were caught in a very unhappy marriage, so my household was just not a very happy one. I was sexually abused growing up. The way I dealt with that, there was a lot of sort of emotional, mental abuse happening in the household. How did I deal with all of that? I ate. I just ate a lot of good food. Now I eat because I enjoy food. But then I ate it because that's how I dealt with life. And then somewhere amongst all of that...
That was your self-medication.
Yeah. But amongst all of that, there was the question of my sexuality, which I never addressed or questioned because it was buried under so many other things. So by the time I entered university, and you're entering into an inclusive space, they've got, groups, support groups for the LGBT community. There's so much acceptance and love. It was in that atmosphere that I started to feel very comfortable. And that sort of ushered in, my new identity. And that's how I came out.
Do you think it's important now to have a month dedicated to Pride?
I think every day should be dedicated to Pride. But I think, going from a week to a month is a good thing. It allows more time to have more conversations, to get, more media segments out, to get more events out, to create more awareness. And it gives people the opportunity, especially those families living in the suburbs, to find some time in their busy schedules to come out and celebrate a community that they probably love. And I think... the whole point about having a month around it is to really sort of engage those who are not part of the community to really understand what our community is about. It really is about love and acceptance and celebrating who you are, no matter where you come from, no matter what shape or color you are. You don't have to be gay to be a part of the LGBTQ celebrations. It's about you have to be who you are. That's what it is.
I've always been part of them, and they're fabulous. Let me ask you, do you think there'll ever come a time when we don't have to celebrate? I mean, we don't have a WASP month. So will there be a time when we don't have to draw attention to it because it'll just be part of the wonderful fabric of humanity?
I think there will come a time, and I hope that time comes while I'm alive, walking on this earth. I really do. I think that there are still a lot of tough conversations that need to be had. I think there's still a lot of things that need to change. And especially, like I said, with those conservative cultural values across all religions and cultures, there's a lot that needs to be done. But I think we've made such huge strides in the last 10, 15 years, and I can't wait to make even bigger strides. Who knows where we'll be? But I definitely think that time is going to come.
Well, nothing has stopped you. None of this has stopped you. I mean, here you are. I mean, a big celebrity interviewing, Hilary Swank and John Travolta and Julianne Moore. And if just very quickly in one sentence, what advice would you give LGBTQ youth who want to do what you do and who want to, reach for the stars?
You have to be comfortable with who you are from a 360-degree perspective, because your sexuality is really just a part of who you are. You have to have good relationships with your family. You gotta be comfortable with the way you look, how you speak, how you act, what you eat, who you talk to, how you dress. You have to be comfortable with who you are all around. And that really is going to give you the confidence to be who you are in every aspect of life. And it takes time to get there, and take that time to get to know yourself.
And who would you tell them to reach out to get there, to help?
There are so many support groups out there, but I think the easiest and the most comforting place is a close friend. I had a lot of close friends growing up, and I turned to them for support. Sometimes just to ask a simple question or to put a simple thought out there. And you know who those people are in your life, and they really, really can help, open up the doors to that world that you're really looking to step into. And if you're comfortable going past your friends, then there are so many support groups and resource centers and hotlines and websites out there that can really support. Or just hit me up. I'm always good on my DMs on my social media. Okay. Just hit me up. I'll help you. Yeah.
One sentence. What's next for you?
Well, you know what? I'm working on the Date with Daniel show. So Date with Daniel show is where you get to have a date with me and a little cocktail. And you get to have some, fun little gossip sessions.
Oh, I guess I can't go on that show.
Of course you can. Of course you can.
Can you have
I'll
a
hit you
friend
up.
date?
Absolutely. Oh, date with Daniel. It's open to everybody.
Oh,
the idea is you
okay.
can have a drink with me, and it's a date.
It's a date?
It's an
Okay.
exclusive,
Okay.
inclusive opportunity.
Woo! Daniel, all the best. And thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
Thank you.
And you're such an inspiration. And if you've been able to overcome all that, I mean, I think it just shows lots of people out there that they can overcome whatever they're dealing with too.
Thank you. I
thank
appreciate
you.
that. Thank
Thank
you.
you.